Greetings. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker today. My wife Ruth and I met her with her presentation at the Livermore Library, and we're so impressed that we invited her to be here today. Let me tell you a little bit about our speaker. She's a retired teacher from the Pleasanton Unified School District. Since her retirement, she has been a photographer, an excellent photographer, very active in that. She's an award-winning photographer who belongs to the Livermore Valley Camera Club, the Northern California Council of Camera Clubs, and the Photographic Society of America. She was a co-chair of Photoclave, a Northern California photography conference and workshop. She and her husband now travel extensively while she travels with her camera. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce Vicki Stephens.
Thank you for coming today. We're going to go to Morocco. This is a trip I took with my husband and some friends with Overseas Adventure Travel. I don't know if anybody's ever traveled with them. Yes, so you kind of know what that.
We did Morocco with them.
Oh, okay, so you've done the same thing. Then you should see some very familiar things. So I don't know, because this happened at my other one, that not everybody exactly knew where Morocco was. So it is in the north of Africa right here. Okay, so it actually borders the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. So, and it is a country that's very similar to California when I thought about it. It's got coastlines, it's got mountains, it's got valleys, it's got deserts. So it's got just about everything that we have here in California. Anybody been to Morocco?
Yeah.
Oh, several, okay. We're gonna, oh, excuse me, I need to use my right hand. Okay, so our tour began and ended in Casablanca. That's where we flew in and out of. This is the mosque, or this is the minaret of the mosque, right here. Every mosque has a minaret, and that's where they announce it's time to pray 5 times a day. People don't go to the mosque 5 times a day, but they will announce it's time for prayer. And this is the second tallest minaret in the world. And we actually got a private tour of the mosque. You know, obviously it's a Muslim country. When you're born in Morocco, you are Muslim. So, but only about 30% of the people, we were told, actually fully practice that religion. And so we weren't allowed to go in during prayer. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have seen that. But we got a private tour at the end of our time in Morocco. When we came back to Morocco, we got to go to the mosque and go inside, which is absolutely lovely. So at the end of this slideshow is when you will see the rest of the mosque, okay? This is just the minaret. Okay, so this is our first stay. We are staying in a modern hotel. And this is a traditional greeting in Morocco, is mint tea. And they serve it like he's doing, really high there. They go whoop, and they come back down, and it makes it really frothy. And it's supposed to kind of aerate the tea, but that is how it is traditionally served. Always you'll see people with their, it looks a little tricky. I didn't try it, but it looked a little tricky to do. So our first night, we were walking down to dinner at a little outdoor place. I think we just had some chicken, some kind of normal stuff for us. And but along the way was a bread cart, and this I felt was significant when I went back looking through my photos for how to present Morocco. Bread morning, noon, and night. Same with olives. Later we'll talk about the olives. And so it's always a flat bread, and later we were taught how to make the bread also. But you will see bread being sold everywhere or being cooked at people's homes. And so bread, I think, is definitely a symbol, one of the symbols of Morocco. So we're going to leave Casablanca. We just stayed there overnight. We're going to go up to Chefchaouen, which is the blue city, which was really fascinating. But along the way, we stopped at this country market. Now, this is an outdoor market that's huge, and this is a major mode of transportation here is your donkey and cart, and people bring these right down the middle of the marketplace, and then they're taking their goods home in it. This was a family that allowed me to take their photograph. So in the market is everything. I consider it the Target of Morocco. So there is absolutely everything there. Food, some cooked food, dried food, backpacks, shoes. There is a tailor that repairs and makes clothes. Anything you could buy at Target practically is at this market, and people come from miles around to go to it. This is a boy who was, I think, offering his cart up to hire, right through the middle of the market, though. You can see donkeys right down the middle of the market there. Oops, I didn't mean to do that, actually. You see the donkeys all over the place. Baked goods. Olives, lots of flavors of olives, delicious, absolutely delicious. The best, I've been to different European countries that highlight olives like Italy and Greece, but these I think were the best. So good. Like I said, they're served morning, noon, and night. But there were several butchers. Yeah, this guy is, I'm not sure exactly what he's butchering here, but it looked kind of interesting.
Where are the flies?
Yes, I don't know. Good question. I didn't really see that. You can buy live chickens and take them home. Right next to the guy with the chickens is the guy that will behead them and take the feathers out for you, and then you can take it home. Kind of gruesome, but obviously they were busy. Yeah, lots of fruits and vegetables, of course. I want to note these. I keep doing that, pressing the wrong button. These ladies' hats here. And we'll see a lot more of that. So the hats denote what tribe they're from. A tribe generally is like a community. We would just think of as like a community of people, but they have a symbolic hat, a lot of them, which I thought was very interesting. Wrong direction. Okay, so now we're going to, this is me. There's a couple pictures in here that I didn't take because I'm in them. So we're gonna go sit down. You could buy grilled sardines, which were very good. And so we were going into this little eating area here, and the guy sitting next to me and the guy across from him, as soon as we walked in, he's like, come, Arabic, not English, but he's gesturing, and so I was right next to my guide, and I said, what's going on? Is this legit? He said, they're just being friendly. They're asking you to sit down and eat with them. And I, being from America, I'm like, is it safe? And yes, so I sat down and it was lovely. We're talking to each other in our respective languages and we're laughing, and it just really was a lot of fun, and the food was delicious. He's showing me how to use the bread. They take a piece of the bread, they break it off, and they use it with their fingers, and they pinch whatever food they're going to eat, and then they eat it in the bread. So he was showing me how to do that. And so that was a really fun experience. I'm glad that I sat down and ate with them.
Was it safe?
Yes, it was. It was safe. And this is us all at the table. So at the other end is where I was sitting. And then I came back and sat by my husband, and then I got a group shot there. And these are the shoe salesmen who were asking me to take, very exuberantly, asking me to take their photo. But look at that shoe store, though. This is how people, they were taking their goods home, but you can see the terrain and that people live quite a ways away. I would say not a lot of grass and not a lot of landscaping in Morocco. A lot of dirt. Okay, Morocco. I think in the flyer it said that Morocco is land of contrasts. So besides the contrasts in terrain that we talked about that are similar to here, there really is a segment of it that is third world living, and there is a segment that is high living, and I don't know how much of a middle class there is there. So this is people taking their goods home from the market. We saw a lot of people doing that. Then we stopped. This is another town that we went through and stopped probably for either gas or lunch or something. Anyways, this guy looks like he's taking his goods to an outdoor market or to a market somewhere. Saw a lot of this. Okay, so we're stopping for lunch here. So these things right here are called tagines, and it is a conical lid. It's ceramic, and then there's a base plate, and in the plate is layers of vegetables and meat of different assortments, and they cook it over a grill, which this gentleman is doing. Absolutely delicious. So this is what people cook in, are these tagines. So they're either over a grill or they're on a stove top. They do not put them in an oven. In fact, most people don't have ovens unless it is to bake bread. This is the food in the tagine. Yeah, a lot of chicken actually, some lamb, occasionally fish. Yeah, lots of vegetables. Really, really good. And it's the herbs. It's all of the spices and herbs that they put in it too that are just delicious. Not spicy, but really flavorful. We had demonstrations of that also. Now we're making our way to Chefchaouen, the Blue City, and you can see everything's blue. Most everything is blue. And so there's the different stories about why it's blue. It's a very old city, and originally it was a Jewish population, and they think it's just carryover of the Jewish population. But then as I read further, there were lots of different reasons they thought it was blue. One was to keep the interiors cooler, and the other one was mosquitoes. I guess, I've never heard this, but the blue helps keep down the mosquito population. I don't know, maybe we should give it a try, paint our houses blue. It's a really beautiful city. So as we're coming into it, it's at the bottom of this hillside, and you can see a lot of the blue. So we could tell we were just about there. And then when we get into it, it is really blue. It's just magnificent. And all of the beautiful tile work here. The Moroccan tile is all over the place. You'll see it inside, outside, and it's just fantastic. And lots of little alleyways and staircases, and this is all pedestrian in here. It's become more and more touristy. Unfortunately, I heard it didn't used to be so much, but it still is well worth visiting because it's just magnificent to see. Again, little alleyways. Old, you can see it's a very old community. This was a kaftan salesman. So along those little alleyways, you'll see little shops, and you'll see people go into their homes. It's all it's a mix mash. So this was a kaftan salesman, but we can't see him. But lots of beautiful doors. I took lots of door pictures. I'm just going to show you a few, but it's just really interesting. Yeah, and then this style. We'll see a few times here of the tile work across it, which is a Moorish style. So you'll see that influence in Chefchaouen. Little bakery shop. He closes those doors and it closes up for the night, and you would never know there was a shop in there. So this lady, see all the hats on the wall. So she's selling these hats. Again, from a certain tribe, or maybe she's got them for different tribes. I don't know how to read them, but they all had these colorful pom-poms on them in different arrays, so they were all from different tribes. So that was really interesting. Another, happened to catch an empty alleyway. So now we are at our riad. A riad, R-I-A-D, is a hotel. Think of it sort of like a boutique hotel. It used to be the home of a wealthy Moroccan, and you see these a lot. And we stayed in a lot of riads, but it was obviously, look at it, it's magnificent. They're absolutely beautiful. All the rooms are different because it was a home. It's not it wasn't originally meant to be a hotel. So really lovely. This is the window in our bedroom. I just loved my view out now. And notice the shape of the window. You'll see this shape many, many times in windows and doors. And somebody told me originally, and I didn't actually see if this was in fact true, that it is the shape, that shape is the shape of the niche that the in the church. Now I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, it was the shape of a niche that somebody stands in for prayer. Okay, this is so we're like on the third floor of this riad, and I'm looking down, and I had wanted to get a picture of somebody at prayer without being intrusive, and this guy he was an employee of the riad, and he was doing his morning prayer, and he never even knew that I took that, but it's I really love that shot. Here's this same shape. This is the doorway onto the roof, and this door is really gorgeous too, right here. I love this door. So we're walking out onto the rooftop. So our friends that we were traveling with, their room was on the rooftop, right off the rooftop. So we were going to visit them, and so now we're on the rooftop because that's where you could sit and have a glass of wine in the evening and get a rooftop view of Chefchaouen. So this carpet salesman, you saw these fairly often. We even saw, I had some pictures of some kids in the alleyways too, but they did not come out very well. It was super bright, but lots of kids running around the alleyways, and they just live right off of these alleyways. This is the Eggman. He just backs his truck up to one of the streets, and people come to him and buy their eggs. Well, that was really interesting. More blue. So now you can see here, this one's a restaurant. I'm not sure if I can say this is a residence, and this might be also, but they're all right together. You'll see shops, restaurants, homes, they're just all intermingled, which is pretty cool. This is a plaza fountain, or a former one, I think. Really beautiful. The fountains are often really beautiful, and people stop here and they will wash their hands and face or get a drink of water. And they're works of art. Absolutely beautiful. This is Chefchaouen in the early morning. We're about to take off, I think, and the street's pretty empty. But look how blue, just blue, blue, blue. So this is one day we were still staying in Chefchaouen, but if you travel with Haute, you know that you go and spend the day with a family. And they served us lunch, and he's a farmer, and he showed us around his farm, and this gentleman right here is our guide, Lacen, and so he's the interpreter, right? This man did not speak English. So he's showing us how to make the tea. We got shown how to make tea several times on the trip, but it was always lovely and really good. And then we had lunch with him, and everything was out of his garden. It was just lovely. And this is his neighbor, Fatima. So the neighbors help each other out. We saw this on numerous occasions. So this family that we're visiting was hired by Haute. And they serve a meal, and they're also, though, telling you about their life. And one of the things they do is they share, the neighbors in a community will help each other out. And this is the neighbor helping on the day that we're visiting, so helping with the meal. And she is baking the bread. And she showed us how she does that. This is the bread oven. And several families will share a bread oven, which is always outside, because of the fuel it takes to run it, which is wood. And then everybody contributes to the wood, and then somebody bakes the bread. So Fatima was baking bread for us this day, and she was just lovely. And this red apron that she's wearing is another symbol of her tribe. So it's you obviously you put a lot of loaves of bread in there. She showed us that you put a hole in the middle and it helps keep it flat. These are flat. Most bread you see are like flat discs. And here's so the mama is cooking us in her tagines on her stovetop. Okay, and prior to she also demonstrated what all she puts in there. That was a whole separate thing. But these were already cooked. These ones. Okay, on this day, we took a day tour to Tétouan. Tétouan is called the White Dove. And it's called the White Dove because just like Chefchaouen is all blue, this one is white. And this is a roundabout as you enter the city with the White Dove. And most of the homes and buildings are white. I don't know why. I don't know why. But it is a city that even the ground is a work of art there. It just was gorgeous. It is one of the towns that the king has here's a picture of the king, King Mohammed. I don't remember which number. I want to say third or something. I don't know. The Mohammed. So every firstborn son is named Mohammed, but there were so many Mohammeds that they decided to skip a generation, so that they wouldn't have so many with the same name. So we met a lot of Mohammeds, and a lot of Hassans. Hassan was the other name that was heard a lot. This is the main plaza in Tetuan, and there's another public fountain, very beautiful. So this in the behind the flags, which are Moroccan flags, is one of the king's palaces. He has many, and one of them is in Tetuan. Okay, this is a funny picture. So they told us that they never throw bread on the ground. And I don't know if it's all food or just bread, but they will put it up on a ledge or in an electrical box or wherever for birds, specifically, I think, and probably maybe some cats or whatever critter can get to it. They never throw it on the ground. Mm-hmm. Another breed, this guy had just a fun shop, fun little sidewalk shop with all of his bread and eggs. This is a silk shop, and they it's all the different colors of silk threads, and they make their silk from agave. Have you ever pulled the strands off an agave? It's a kind of silk, and a lot of women will come and get the silk, and they make those knotted silk buttons. I'm sure you've seen them at some point. Anyway, which they had some in the window too, of some of the buttons. One of the tailors, of which we saw many, always a man that was working behind the sewing machine. Okay, this is the Royal Art. I think it's called the Royal Artisan Academy. People go here to learn how to make the Moroccan tiles, and even this lamp that's hanging down. They make all kinds of things. They make wooden, the sculpture, the wood carving, any kind of artistic carving or just any kind of artistry. Anyways, like an art school, and all the pictures on the wall up there are the people who have graduated from this academy. And this day we were there were no students. They were off that day. But we did get to tour around the place, more of this white sculpture, which I absolutely love. And so these are like some cabinet doors they made. I don't know exactly what these are, but they were really beautifully made. We saw the designs for some of the tile. And this gorgeous sculpted lamp base, kind of wanted to take that home. It was so pretty. And everything in this room is made by the artisans. That's our group just waiting in there to take off. But all the tile, the woodwork, the furniture, the rug probably, everything made by the artisans. So as we're leaving, as we're heading back now to Chefchaouen, we see this macaque. This is a Barbary macaque. They're sort of endemic to northern Africa. I love wildlife photography also, and I knew that they were there somewhere, and I didn't know if we would see any, so I was very excited when we saw this guy. And then I was told that we would be seeing more, which we did, and it was very fun. This is a marijuana field. They're like the third largest producers of marijuana in Morocco. So we passed by the marijuana fields. This was an overlook, like an overview area, and we found just a small section of graves. So we don't really know what it was about, but what was interesting was how, I don't know if you can really tell how, it's a really narrow grave. And later, on in the trip, we learned that they bury their dead on their side, which is why it's so narrow. Thought that was a nice practical reason. So that's my husband and our friends. So we're back. All of this is happening while we're staying in Chefchaouen. So we're back on our rooftop having a little drink in the evening and overlooking the city, and it was just heavenly. Chefchaouen at night, rooftop view. Okay, now we're going to go to Tangier. We've now left Chefchaouen. We're going to Tangier, just a pretty door there. We passed a lot of stork nests. Storks, look how tall that nest is, because they come back each year and they add to it. And so we saw many of these, and that was really interesting. This is taken from the bus, just to show you some of the terrain as we drive north, valleys and big rocky mountains. So we are now looking at the Mediterranean Sea. So this right here is the Rock of Gibraltar. Okay, supposedly there's a large population of macaques that live on that island. We didn't go to it. That's the only picture I really got, and it's not even a very good one. And then just over here, this is Spain. It's so close you can see Spain. And over here is the signage in Tangier that shows this side is the Atlantic, this side is the Mediterranean Sea. So there's a little sign there. Now, the Spanish actually built a lot of little developments here in Africa because it's so close, and that was one of them. Right where this lighthouse is where the sign is that shows the two bodies of water. So very tip top of Morocco. I think actually the most northern point in Africa, or thereabouts, that looked like there was something else about the same height there, but pretty much the tip top of Africa. And then a few years ago, my husband and I went on safari, and we went to the Cape of Good Hope, which is the very southern point of Africa. So we've been to both. This is another riad in Tangier, Palais Zahia, and this is where we stayed for just a night. Actually, this is another really interesting door with that Moorish tile around it. This is so it's ancient walled city, and this is the gate into the city. And this is part of the wall. There were a lot of beautiful decorated doors also. Newer looking. A sidewalk vendor, woman just selling her vegetables. Another bread man. We saw a lot of them. This woman is selling cheese, and she's got a beautiful fronds of something around them. Really pretty. We everywhere we went, pretty much we saw dried herbs and fruit and nuts. Okay, now we're going to Rabat. Rabat is the capital of Morocco, and we only stayed here one night before we were heading out into the body of Morocco. One of the royal guards in front of a mausoleum. It's on the water, so waterside city. This is the royal palace. This is where the king lives most of the time in the capital of Rabat. This is the one place we were allowed to take pictures of the guards in their different military garb. And we were actually quite a ways away. I had a big zoom lens I was using there, and I cropped that in. And this is the mausoleum where I showed that guard standing in front of him. Some royalty is buried here, and if the royal family comes to visit, you can't go in, but otherwise you can go inside. Well, I was taking pictures outside. My friends were going inside, but royal family came to visit, and they closed it. I never got to go inside, but the outside was gorgeous too. So mounted guards. This is an incense burner, and when family is visiting, they will light that. It wasn't lit at the moment, but one of the guards. They're really beautiful uniforms. And another seaside picture. You can see the mountains surrounding, not far from the coast. Okay, so we were only one night in Rabat, and we did a little bit of touring. Now we're going to Fez, where we're going to stay for a few days. And this gentleman, and there were many others that are designing and making Moroccan tiles that are etched or carved. You can see some of these are some decorative tagines here. They usually cook in those plain terracotta-looking ones. These might be more for serving in. I don't know. That you can buy them all different sizes, and like I bought a little one home that's really more for a decoration. On the way in, we passed this farmer who was harvesting his olive trees, again with his neighbors. So we were talking with him, and this is one of his neighbors who had a bucket of olives there. And this is the minaret in Fez. Every mosque has a minaret. And the whole purpose is to announce the prayer. I think I already mentioned that, but so you'll get different heights depending on where you are. A small city might only need a small one, whereas Casablanca had the really, really tall one. This man makes the tagines. He makes a lot of the pottery, and he whipped out a tagine in seconds. He was making a smaller one, but he was demonstrating how he makes them. This was an apprentice who's decorating some cups. And this guy is designing a sink. And they're all just like either sitting on the ground or a little stool or something. It doesn't look very comfortable. This is the guy that's etching this vase very tediously. It was amazing to watch. This guy is making a tabletop, and this is fascinating because you see right here you can see a couple of blue tiles. All these tiles in this are colored, but he's making it upside down. So how he does that, I do not know. So all the color is on the other side, and I don't know how they turn it over. Obviously, they must meld it all together somehow. But that was pretty fast. And that guy's just sitting on the ground on his knees. I thought, oh, that looks painful. A lot of feral cats and dogs, but a lot more cats, lots of cats. And the cats are not owned, like I said, they're feral, so nobody owns cats and dogs. They're not private pets. They are like community pets, and everybody takes care of them and feeds them, and they all are made sure that they've had, seen by vets, and they have them spayed and neutered, and, so they all help take care. This is the royal, I just wrote this down. These are the the golden doors of the Palais Royal. And you're no longer allowed to go in there, but the outside, I guess it's gorgeous inside also, but the outside doors are very beautiful. Actually, sorry, I didn't get a great picture there, but I had my husband stand in front of one of those doors though, because they're huge. One of the alleyways in the Medina. The Medina is the old part of usually a big city, where there's still a lot of old shops and homes. And you can see it is quite old. In fact, I think the Fez Medina is the oldest Medina in Africa. Okay, this was really interesting. This behind these wooden doors is a veterinary clinic called the American Fonduke, and it is an organization that takes care of all of the working animals in the city. So all of the donkeys, mules, and horses, and maybe other things, and it's all free. They take care of all the working animals for free. It was fascinating. We got a tour inside there, and it's a full veterinary clinic for large animals. And we were toured around by an apprentice who was working there for the summer, and it's a wonderful, wonderful program. It's just a city worker. And a lot of people's mode of transportation is a donkey. somebody who has brined their own olives, and they're for sale here. This is the what they call the dyeing district, as in dyeing yarn. So we saw a lot of things. This man is dyeing a pair of pants, I think, and he's kind of showing off and doing a little thing. But yeah, so big. We saw lots of big vats of dyes. This is all the different colors of yarn, which is very colorful. This is the leather tannery in Fez. Kind of is one of the things it's known for. All of those have a different color dye, and nobody's working right now, which I really so sorry we didn't get to see that. But they actually get in those vats and stomp things around, and it stinks to the high heavens because it's all leather. So it's all hides, yeah. And then they have, of course, a lovely shop where you can buy leather goods. This is in the Medina. This man, I don't know, he got just every bit of everything in his shop, and he's polishing a teapot there. I just thought it was funny, kind of interesting. This is the oldest university in the world. It was the first university, and I don't think it's functioning now. It's more of a tourist attraction, but absolutely beautiful. Again, so much beautiful art in Morocco. The ceilings, even the ceilings, look at this.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? The brass doors are a work of art. This is in the interior area. I mean, all of this carving up here is magnificent. We went into some of these upstairs areas, which were just all vacant right now, but. Okay. So now we're starting to travel to the desert, right? So our goal is to go to the Sahara, and so it took many hours to drive there. And en route we stopped at Erfoud, which is a town right on the edge of the Sahara. This door is the door of a nomad's home. Now there are still many nomads in Morocco, and they're considered, I don't know if they're all considered, but semi-nomads. So they'll go somewhere for the winter, and then they will actually pick up that home and move it to somewhere else for the summer. So, and most of them are shepherds, and so they have a herd of sheep with them generally. And so, wouldn't you know? But before we get there. This is where I was on this road that we saw the macaques. So, I was in heaven taking pictures of them. There were lots of babies. This little guy was learning to climb and chewing on the branches and everything. He was very cute. Mama nursing. And these were off the side of the road, and I think a lot of people stopped there, so they're used to it. And then this guy was just posing for me. Yeah. Okay. So we did not. This was just one I think I took from the bus, but you see the different colored tarps across the top. So underneath that is a log frame, just bare logs, and they cover it basically with anything they can find that will keep them out of the elements. So this guy has some kind of. They look like tarps. I'm not sure what those are. This is another home. This looks like a more permanent home, but a lot of homes are made of mud and rock or grass. And this is one, okay, so this right here is our guide, and he knows the gentleman who lives here. His family are nomads, and I want you to look at their home right here. It is covered, even right here, you see this is a pair of pants right here. There was a bathrobe in there, I think. There are rugs, there are any piece of fabric they can get their hands on, they cover their home with. And then it's summer. No, this is fall. Sorry. When it gets too cold, they roll up that whole top. They take it all off and they leave the frame, and they'll come back next year and put that back on that frame. And then they go somewhere else. So we are in the mountains right now, and so the gentleman that we met, this is a little closer up view of all the different fabrics, and we're going to go inside in a minute, and you can see the underside of it. It's pretty much the same. This is the gentleman who lives here. Now he just looks like, your average Joe, doesn't he? But he's a shepherd, and his brother is out with the sheep. He said he had taken them up somewhere to graze, and his wife, he's pointing. We said, "Where's your wife?" She's down there. She took the mule. It's 2 miles down to get the water. So this is just our jaws are dropping. It's just so foreign to us, but this is their life. Very nice guy. This was the entrance. This little garden over here, his children made. They're learning in school how to garden, how to grow things. This is a practical skill for them. We went inside, and you can see the underside of the roof and the logs that will remain there. And then all of their bedding is up here. And it's dirt. It's dirt, but then there are rugs then in the interior. And this is their stove for heating. I think this is mostly for heating. It looks like boiling water too, probably for tea. But you can again see the underside of the roof and the bit of furniture that they have. This is the kitchen. I was kind of enamored by kitchens, so I've taken several pictures of different people's kitchens. They do really vary, but most of them are pretty rudimentary. This is not the guy's flock, which is somebody else's, but it's representative of the flocks of sheep and the shepherds. This woman, I didn't get a very clear shot, obviously, but see her face is tattooed. This was a tribal thing. The women had tattoos on their face, and our guide is from the Berber tribe, and his mother also has tattoos on her face. But now I think it is looked down upon, and he and his siblings, as I didn't mention, also he's from a polygamous family. He's got two. Let's see, his father has 2 wives, and together there are 24 children. And so his siblings went in to help the mother have the tattoos removed when it became a sort of a negative symbol. And so I wanted to get a representative picture of the facial tattoos. This is just driving, so we're going to be driving now. We see lots of little villages in there. This is pretty typical. They're just like, these walls look much sturdier than some. Sometimes it just looks like mud and straw or rock. And the women sitting out here, this basically is their socialization. They go sit outside and talk to their neighbors. The kids will be maybe roaming around a little bit more. We saw that, like this looks like some teenagers over here, but this is pretty typical. Here's another roadside stand with cooking with the tagines. Another city, and again, no paint. Everything is just mud colored. This was a really lush area of palm trees and the beautiful bluff in the back. Here's one of the kids loved the tourists. They waved everybody and they're happy and smiling, and the parents are a little more reticent to have their photos taken. So this was like a little enclosed community that's kind of getting dilapidated, and a lot of people have moved out of it. It's kind of falling apart, except for this woman here. I don't know if she's the only one. I kind of doubt that. But anyway, we went to visit this woman. This is her living room we're sitting in. She's lived here for 30 years and pays $10 rent a month. And that's where she lives. And she embroidered this scarf. Again, another tribal thing. Lots of symbols of the tribals. That's her son sitting over there. And like I said, this is their living room. You can see there's a TV. Pretty incredulous. Yeah. This is her kitchen. I want to say maybe even more rudimentary than the other one we just saw. And then we go from that to our hotel. Then it made me feel very self-conscious. This was not a riad. This was a hotel, and it sits right on the edge of the Sahara, and it was absolutely beautiful. Again. In the in-air food where we spent the night, they mine fossils And so all kinds. So there's an area not too far from this. We went to the facility where they bring the slabs back that they've mined, not too far away, like within like 10 miles or something. They bring them back there and they slice them and they look at what's inside. And this is a slab that was very dull, and all I did was splash some water on it, and it was just gorgeous. And then he showed us how they polished them up, and you can buy tables, and you can get counters, you can all of that kind of stuff. Artwork, some beautiful artwork. This is another piece of fossil. Of course, there's a store there. You can buy all kinds of stuff. This piece of art was really gorgeous. And now we're going to go to the Sahara. So, now some of you have been to Morocco, and I assume many of you probably went to the Sahara, therefore. But what do you think of when you think of the Sahara?
Sand.
Yeah. Do you think of these? Yeah. Do you think of these sand dunes? That's what I think of when I thought I was expecting to see big old sand. Well, what we saw going in was, and we eventually got to the sand dunes, but driving in it's just dirt. It's dirt and rock, and then the sand dunes were in the distance. Now we're getting a little close, but they're just like this thing sticking up in the distance. I'm like, what? I thought the whole thing was sand dunes. No, the whole thing is not sand dunes. These probably brothers, these three boys. So what we discovered was a lot of the nomads will save their money and buy the camels in the Sahara, and then they rent the camels to the tourist operation for people to take camel rides through the Sahara. So, and we did meet a family that do just that, but this just happened to be a random scene as we were driving. This is our camp in the Sahara. All of these tent cabins have, bed, bathroom, shower. Not terribly crude. It was decent, comfortable. It was pretty warm. In fact, we were one of the first groups they were letting come for 2 nights. They were limited it to 1 night because it was so hot there. But it had cooled down slightly, so we got to stay 2 nights, which was wonderful. And we had some really not very good fans in our room, so it was a little warm. But it was just really wonderful to be there and to be just more outside. You really went into your room to go to bed and take a shower, And then we finally got to go to the sand dunes. The first night, actually, we went. I think this is when I took the first night. They took us up to one of the ridges. We had to climb up from where we were parked. And we sat on the crest and watched the sunset with a bottle of wine. That was really, really lovely. Then we visited this gentleman who's a date farmer. Lots of dates in Morocco. This is his daughter, and she made the same. You'll see. We saw these scarves in many places. Again, probably a tribal design, and she was selling them. We saw camels being milked, and then we got to taste the milk, which was pretty good, actually. Not too bad. This is the camel. I have lots of camel face pictures. They're all hysterical. Anyways, that's just one of them. Yeah, they were very funny. Okay, so then there's all these buildings out in the Sahara. They're not supposed to be buildings here, but there are. And this right here is, I think, a hotel going in, or so it is getting developed a bit. Probably around the edges of the desert. This gentleman worked at our camp. He was one of the servers. I thought he was really striking looking. Now we're going to go ride camels, and it was probably everything I hoped it would be. So we got to, they're on the ground. You climb on, and there are guides that are, there's like 4 camels tethered together, and then there's a guide leading them, but they all go in a line. And this was one of the guides. I thought he looked really cool. Then we go in a line, and I asked to be at the back so I could take photos of the line, which was really good. And then these shadow shots I like. So we got out onto the Sahara where we couldn't see any of that other stuff. Just the dunes, and then we rode for an hour. So that was really remarkable. I really enjoyed that. This guy again, very photogenic. This is our guide, Lassen. Now he's wearing his traditional garb now. Originally he was wearing Western clothes, and then when we got up in the mountains, in the area where he's from, he was wearing his kaftans also, and his scarves. We heard some Moroccan music, supposedly the precursor of jazz. I didn't quite get that when I heard it, but it was interesting, and it was fun to see their musicians. This is the other nomad we visit. Now this is quite different. This is his family, and he lives in this tent. That's where they eat, that's where they sleep. His kids do not go to school. He and his wife did not go to school. His oldest son went to school, and it was a boarding school then, and didn't like it for whatever reason and ran away and came home. And they didn't make him go back. So none of them are in school. Now this is one of the families that owns camels. They own 3 camels, which were not there. They were out when we were there, so we didn't see the camels, and they're saving for more. So how they make their money, I do not know, actually. Here's his children, and they do have, so that they have that tent, and that's mostly where they live, especially in the warm weather, but they do have an enclosure here for if it gets really windy or really rainy or whatever. And so this is their mud hut, and their donkey's mud hut. Yes. This is her kitchen, and she's about to serve tea to us. Profile of this guy. Yeah, the teeth, yeah. I doubt they see a dentist at all. They served us tea as a welcome. And Mrs. had baked bread, and she's going to serve bread, and that little bowl has some olive oil. And we're going to have bread and oil. Her hands, which look really dirty, are not. That is henna. Henna tattoos are very common there. And women will paint or tattoo their hands. I don't really know why that is. I need to research that. But the palm of their hand will be tattooed. Because you probably have seen decorative tattoos, henna tattoos. But this is just the palm of your hand. Some more musicians. These guys were really good. Sunset at our campsite, which was really lovely. We were shown about their water system, which is underground well. So they come and collect their water, and they put it in a cart, and then they're gonna wheel it home. And all of these are previous well sites. Yeah, amazing. A woman carrying her baby. This is typically how they carry the baby. As women are on their way to market, we had stopped the bus. Some people had to do a little shopping. So these women, I was on the bus though. This woman didn't particularly want her picture taken, but so we're at a museum that also has a women's co-op. And women's co-ops are fairly common. That's where women can go to get out of the house and work, and they earn a little money. And she was very vibrant in her blue caftan there. But she wouldn't look up. So I went. So in the museum, I came to this window in this one section, and that's her from the other side. And I really like this through the grill work. Another city that I think this was earthquake damage. We were there the week after the big earthquake, so we did see some earthquake damage. We went to visit this school. This is me down here. So this is me. My husband took a picture, so that's not one I took. But anyways, we're visiting the school, and this is their play yard, and where they go they were eating lunch, I think, and that's the teacher. And then we got to see the inside, which, was fairly reminiscent of a school, like a preschool room. And we all brought things to them. We brought like a case of pencils and, things that they could use in their classroom. Then we went to lunch, and I found this group of boys, very typical, on their cell phones. Okay, so here's a wealthy person's home. Okay, so now we're traveling in an area where there were a lot of homes that you could tell were owned by somebody that had some money. And they were some of them. I think this one's still in the process of being built. Okay, then we're passing through Wazarat. Wazarat is where a lot of movies are filmed. Does this look familiar at all? are parts of it you probably have seen in some kind of movie. So they do a lot of filming out there. And so in Wazirat, we went and spent a day with this family. Okay, again, he is a farmer. There's obviously people are really growing their own food, you know, and his own livestock. And he had a whole farm, really lovely family. He butchered a lamb for us for lunch. We didn't watch that, but we saw the skin up there, and we were told that he had butchered a lamb for us. This is their living room, which had a lot of earthquake damage, and so they've got it all shored up with poles. Now this kitchen looks modern in comparison to the others, but you see she's got her stovetop, no oven. Here's the oven outside. It's the bread oven, and again, this lady over here is the neighbor. So we saw this a lot with the neighbor. Kim comes and helps out, and they bake bread together. And she's showing us how to bake bread. And then the farmer took us out. That's my husband waving there. The donkey has a bunch of stools on it. And we went out into the orchard, and we all sat on the stools, and he served us tea and bread. Here he is. Very nice. Again, no English. She had a few words of English. She's showing us her wedding album, and would you know, I was so busy taking pictures, I never saw the wedding album, which I really regret. Anyways, I guess it was really interesting. And then she showed us how to make couscous from scratch, not from a box. And then she had made tagine, of course, of the lamb and vegetables. Every time we had this, it was just delicious. So this building is a women's co-op, women's craft co-op for bakery and confectionery. So this building was donated, or the funds for it were donated by OAT, by the travel organization. I didn't know that they did these kinds of things. And so in here, the women, again, can go to work, earn a bit of a living, earn some money, and speak with other women outside their home. And this one did a lot of baking. Yeah, they had cookies, mostly all kinds of cookies that you could buy. They also did tattooing. They did tattoos. We all got a tattoo. And these were really beautiful, decorated. We got tea and cookies, of course. And we all got tattoos. These are all the women. The women all got a really decorative tattoo, and the men didn't want to, of course. So they got a Berber symbol. I don't have a picture of it, but it's very basic symbol that they all got on the back of their hand, I think. These were the two tattoo artists, and they were fast, amazingly. This is at our hotel. This is at our hotel. Yes, this hotel had some earthquake damage, so parts of it were blocked off. But this is very near where the filming all takes place. So they have a lot of props. They have a lot of things from movies, like this chariot. And that's my girlfriend in there. And there is an actual studio. It's back here. You can't. It's gated. You can't go in it. But we passed by the driveway of it, which was just along our route. Okay, this is just, now I've got some more villages. You can see the mud and rock homes. Or stone and gardens. These are just all along the road, and we're making our way to Marrakesh. So we're coming into Marrakesh, and here's the guy hauling his wood. I thought this was cute with the old and the new here. This is a singer in a restaurant, which was our very last night in Marrakesh, but we spent a few days there. So we're coming, it's another big city, Marrakesh. It's big and loud, and it was actually not my favorite place. We stayed right off the main square, so it's kind of known for this big plaza that it has in the center with all kinds of vendors. And it is right on the edge of a Medina, which I'll show you in a minute, which is the old shopping section. Lots and lots and lots of motorcycles and scooters. There really aren't supposed to be cars in that section, but there are so many motorcycles that it's I think unnerving because they're all around you. So carpet salesman, tagine salesperson. I don't know how those don't fall down from there. Yeah, this guy with his herbs and greenery. I don't know how he even rides that bike. There's motorcycles, and so you're in the Medina, right? Very narrow alleyways that you're walking down, and here comes a motorcycle, and it just, I'm surprised more people don't just get mowed over. But we didn't see that happen. But anyway, this is a lighting shop. Okay. This is, I don't know, this is like in the metalworking section, but just a mix match of everything, like cages and artwork, and there were lamps. There was a lamp store, and this guy's, I'm not sure exactly what he's working on, but some bit of this guy was working a wood lathe with his feet, a very kind of crude wood lathe, and it was amazing how he worked it. And then he was making game pieces and handles for skewers, and this is the whole plaza with all kinds of things for sale. This might have been setting up lots of fruit and vegetable vendors, and other goods. There was even the snake guy with the cobra. But you had to pay to take a picture there. I said, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. This is our riad here, and this one was really fancy one. Yeah. Where we stayed in Marrakesh. This is the botanical garden in Marrakesh, which if you ever go there, this is very lovely. And it is right next to the Yves Saint Laurent Museum, which was his home, and I believe it was his park. Hello, that went out. Hello? The mic went out?
Mic went off.
Turn
Are
off
we
your
wrapping
the
up
mic.
now?
Pardon?
Are we wrapping up now? It's past 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
No, we'll,
Okay, so
We will wrap
can you hear me?
up soon, but the mic
Yes.
went
Okay.
off.
Yeah, but you're past.
The
you're
museum
past
is really
your hour.
fantastic.
I
We
know,
cannot
they don't
take
come until 2:30.
pictures inside.
2:15.
I would recommend going there, and the botanical garden is really lovely also. This is the underside of the palapa area where people just go get cooled off. It was quite warm.
what are they?
Oh, now we're back in the plaza.
I use, it's an English subtitle.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it's
I'm totally gotta wrap up. Okay, I think we're getting toward, let's get to the mosque. Oh, this was really fun in Marrakesh, the carpet salesman. This was a lovely facility, and they were showing all their carpets, and then we got to go buy some carpets. That's my carpet, which is really a wall hanging. A tuk-tuk, girls in the plaza, another minaret. This is in the botanical garden. This blue in the garden is like copyrighted. Yes. And this is our last night in Marrakesh, having dinner, and we're heading back. And here's the mosque. Last few pictures. Beautiful pictures. And a lot of these pictures are up here, if you would like to see them in a larger format. It was the fog was coming in and out, and it was absolutely lovely. And you can see, how tall this is compared to the people down here. Okay, and inside, absolutely gorgeous inside. They don't hang any images of animals or people inside. There's none. It was very serene and lovely. This is the washroom. They have to wash their hands, feet, arms. Something else I think. Yeah. And so this is where they wash hands, feet. Anyway, even this room was gorgeous. And there's the outside, one of the many doors in there, and these are the women. Right before we went in, we watched them come out from prayer. So, and that's all the fog in the background. So it was kind of an interesting photo. And that is the end. There we go.